I hope everybody's excited to talk about recruiting mistakes with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric Worre, and really excited, as always, to have you on the show. I know we're going to talk about all things recruiting, and I've been guilty of these mistakes. I think many people, either they overthink it or they come on too strong or they don't come on strong enough. I mean, we all have things that we do that could be improved upon. And I've been doing this now for over 20 years. I know I've had to make adjustments and improvements. And still today, I try to, really pay attention to what's working and see what's duplicating in the market. And Eric, obviously, I know you're not only the number one trainer and coach in the profession, but you're always working with leaders. And based on your experience and expertise, really what's working in the field, in the market, especially now moving into a new year in 2024.
There's been a bit of a shift over the last 3 to 5 years. And some people are like, oh, we're too focused on recruiting. We need to focus more on customers, which is fine. Nobody gets paid in our business unless a sale happens to a customer, to a consumer. There's a danger, but network marketing as an organization has overreacted and swung the pendulum so far to customer gatherers, to affiliates, to sales only. And they've lost a bit of the recruiting piece of what it is that we do. And the reason why that's dangerous is think in terms of a traditional life cycle. You got your growth, you got your maturity, you have your decline. And now think of the average person who's going out and selling. Mm-hmm. However they're selling. They're an influencer, they're selling on social, they're doing whatever they're doing. There is a life cycle for each individual. There's, the beginning, there's the peak of, them absolutely at their peak. And there's obviously a decline. People are not going to sell forever. There's a certain amount that they're going to sell. And if you understand that, you understand the risk of not recruiting. In network marketing, there's a life cycle of an average distributor. So there comes a point where they're not going to sell anymore. They sold what they're going to sell. If your birth rate, being the new recruits coming into your business, is lower than your death rate, which means a person is no longer going to be an active seller, then your organization is going to age out. It's just everybody's going to move through and things are just going to decline. You have to make sure that your birth rate is higher than your death rate as far as distributors within your organization. You have to be bringing in more than the people who are ceasing to be productive if you want to have a long-term future. So some people are like, oh, it's more fun for me to sell. Fine, I get it. But you're giving up the leverage piece of your business. You have a little bit of leverage when you're selling because you get repeat orders after making the one sale one time. You get a little bit of leverage. You start to really have leverage when you're able to build a team of people who are also doing it. And then you expand on that leverage when you get duplication, and you expand on that leverage when you become a good leader who are helping people become more productive. Recruiting is important. And some of you might not be recruiting because it's a different skill set. Selling the product is kind of emotionally light. Bringing somebody into your business is a little bit more emotionally heavy. It's a little scarier for the average person to be able to go do that. But if you understand the importance of it, then I think you're going to have a longer term career if you have an ever expanding team. Teams are going to rise and fall, but just make sure the birth rate is higher. So
I feel like you have a lot of the same conversations that I have where people just feel like it's easier to sell. I'm just going to be an affiliate for things. Or, hey, I did recruit a bunch of people. They didn't do anything. And they get discouraged by that. And they say, I don't want to babysit people. Or they feel like there's no point in it because it's too much work for not enough pay. So I love hearing your philosophy on that because I know you have similar conversations that I'm having.
So to get to the mistakes is people think in building an organization or being an entrepreneur, you can build it once, have it for forever, which is not true. It's never been true for any company, for any empire, for any country, for anything. As you're building an organization, you can't build it once, have it forever. I brought in 10 people and two did something and they didn't do it for that long. So it's not worth it. So I'm just going to make my sales right now. And the sad thing for me, one of the biggest mistakes, I think, is people have this asset that is network marketing and then they don't use it. So they basically take a job that was outside of network marketing and they replace it for a job inside of network marketing. They just trade in time for money here. Here's my product. I want to make a sale. I'm going to get the dollars. then go find somebody else, make a sale, get the dollars. And you could do that anywhere for any company or by yourself or whatever you want to do. You have all these leverage tools. And the only way to get wealthy is leverage. There is no way to get wealthy without leverage. Can't do it. How do you get wealthy? And how do you use the tools that are available to you instead of just trading time for money? And the only way to do that is to grow a network. Are you constantly aware of what needs to be happening in your team? Are those things happening? What are the measurements that you can use to be able to figure out the health of your organization? So one of my favorite measurements is core rank. How many people within your company are achieving core rank for the very first time per month? That's probably the measure, the biggest healthy measure of an organization is that KPI, that measurement on a monthly basis. So awareness is number one. If you're highly aware of what's going on and you acknowledge the short-term consequences and long-term consequences for however your organization is acting,
right? Then
as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to adapt and pivot. Back to the recruiting mistakes, the biggest mistake people make, they have a quantity problem. You're like, well, what does that mean? You're not talking to enough people. You're not in all business is conversation. I learned this. I believe it's absolutely true. If you're in conversation, you have a chance of doing business. If you're out of conversation, your business is closed. Most people in network marketing have far too few conversations going on at any given moment in time. I think everybody in network marketing should have at least 100 active conversations happening, 100 at any moment in time. How many real conversations are you in process with right now with prospects? Now, here's what I would ask you to do. Awareness again. Is that number in alignment with your financial goals in building your network marketing business? If you want to really grow, 2024 is going to be your biggest year yet, but you have 30 conversations going, or you have 7 conversations going. Is that in alignment with building an empire? Is that in alignment with financial freedom? It's not. So it's a quantity problem. So I'm a big believer in 3 words as far as getting better: plan, do, review. You don't have to be great at anything. You make a plan to start these conversations and keep them going. You do that plan and you review to get better. Oh, these are all ghosting me. All right. Well, you have to change something. Whatever that change is, keep changing it until you find ways so you can be in conversation, stay in conversation. And once you stay in conversation with people, then you're going to look for an opening for either your product or your opportunity, and you'll pivot that conversation to business or product. Okay. So it doesn't matter what you say. It just matters that you start. It doesn't matter how you approach people. If everybody's ghosting you, you're probably going too fast. They're annoyed by your message. That's why they don't respond. You're going to have to make it maybe a little bit more friendly. Maybe you talk about nothing about business for a couple of weeks and you keep the conversation going, and then you look for an opening because you built some trust. If you're getting ghosted, it's probably on you. Like I say, it doesn't matter. Plan to review is a magic trick, because you can be the worst at anything and you start plan to review, get a little bit better every day. You'll find it within 30 days. You'll find a perfect rhythm to be able to do it. But quantity is your biggest challenge. You're not doing enough of what needs to be done in order to be able to have a real business. You can't do it talking to 7 people.
Yeah. And I think it's really important too for people that maybe struggle with this. And I think I heard you say this for the first time. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was you. Almost creating a schedule, like you have a part-time job where you're going to be intentionally sitting down and proactively reaching out to people. You could even create power hours with some sideline, upline, downline, whatever. Doing this together, creating conversation is the name of the game. And I think a lot of people, they do everything else but that.
If you're not in conversation, what's going to build your business?
Right. I think they think videos. They're just going to put out content and the leads are just going to come in and
Well, you can put out content, but if you don't use the content to start a conversation, this is all we do, is have conversations with people and then see if we can provide a solution, whether product or opportunity. And those that do, see if we can help them do the same thing that we're doing.
That's it.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Your posting is to create a conversation, not to get a sale.
Yeah.
Your live is to create a conversation. and people are going to need to build some trust with you
Mm.
before they're ready to give you their credit card.
That's right.
They'll give it to Amazon. They trust Amazon. They don't trust you because they don't know yet.
Right.
So you got to have conversation in order to be able to build trust, build belief. Just start. Say hello. And the other mistake people make is they go too fast. They're too impersonal and too fast.
Mm.
They're too spammy. If you took 5 seconds and looked at their social, you would see that they've got a kid that's sick right now. You can still say hi and I hope your kid's okay. And just start the conversation there. You don't need to close everybody every second. What the successful network marketers do is they collect friends and they strengthen those relationships. And if you're a friend with somebody, that friend is going to find out what it is that you do. And there'll be a moment when you can educate them on your product or your opportunity and keep the conversation going after that. And even if they said no the first time, don't be one of those people that's a transactional person that says, I'm only going to be having conversation with you if you're a prospect. If you're not a prospect, you're no longer interesting to me. Because as soon as you do that, people go, oh, that was gross.
Right.
You only wanted to talk to me when I was a prospect. And as soon as I wasn't a prospect, I'm dead to you. Get lost. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Just understand this. Here's a mistake. A lot of people think that other people are a tool for them to be able to achieve their goals. And instead of that, you have the opportunity to bring a gift to people through your products that will improve their lives, help others with a financial opportunity, and not just themselves, but help other people as well. Once you understand this, that it's a gift that you're offering, but the person's blind to that gift right now, and you have to help the blind person see. And the way you do that is through conversation. And the way you do that is keeping the conversation going and building trust. And the way you do that is educating the person about what it is that you have, just being a nice person and having fun, allowing a person's imagination to be triggered and like, maybe this could be something that could be huge for me. Who knows? It's a magic part of what we do. We have an excuse to be able to connect and interact with very interesting people. We just got to decide to do it in a professional way